I've now lived with my Technics SL1200 Mark II turntable for about a year and a half, and no, I'm not a DJ. I've been using it for home hi-fi listening. I gotta tell you, this is probably the last turntable I will ever need. In today's video, I'm gonna tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and answer some common questions I get. Hi, my name is Frank. Welcome back to channel 33 RPM. Let's get right into this. SL1200 turntables were manufactured from 1972 until 2010, and the brand was revived in 2016. The 1200 series was initially developed as a special project by Technics' parent company in an attempt to solve problems related to turntable design. The task included minimizing acoustic feedback, unwanted resonance, wow and flutter, and speed errors. The SL1200 Mark II model, which we're focusing on today, was released in the summer of 1979 and sold right until the end, until 2010. The one I have is a bit unique because it's black. As I understand it, black models were badged as 1210s outside of North America. Mine is black. It was sold on the Canadian market in 1999, and it is most definitely a 1200, not a 1210. Before I get into this, there has been a long raging debate. Is it Technics or is it Techniques? The answer is both. It depends on where in the world you live. I did a whole video on this. If you want to learn more, I'll leave a link below this video. So before getting my 1200, I was using a variety of turntables, including a vintage Hitachi PS48 and some modern turntables, including a Project Debut Carbon, a Fluence RT85, as well as an Orbit turntable. I liked all of those modern turntables in their own ways, and I still use them through different setups I have in the house, but none of them are as rugged as the vintage 1200s. So after looking for a while, I finally found a Mark II locally that was in good condition, and I bit the bullet. I paid somewhere around $600 Canadian for it, which is equal to about $500 US. Cosmetically and mechanically, my Mark II is in great shape. The dust cover when I got it was a bit banged up, so I bought a replacement dust cover from Reloop for around $80 or so, and that fits perfectly. I found the sound was a significant improvement over the RT85 and the Project Debut Carbon, as well as the U-Turn Orbit turntable. Off the bat, I found that the Technics, the Mark II, had more of a pronounced bottom end, as well as more depth and more clarity. Now, of course, the SL1200s are widely regarded as DJ turntables, but in a home hi-fi setting, they really do have a lot going for them as well. As I mentioned, these units are solid, rock solid. They are built like tanks. They also hold rock steady speed due to the quartz locking system, which is an important feature for anyone who's spinning records. Plus, I mean, this is up for debate. I think they look good. I think they look fantastic. I also like the fact that the 1200s are fully adjustable. Many modern turntables aren't. For example, on the Mark II, you can adjust the vertical tracking angle, a feature that's absent from all my modern day turntables. Aftermarket parts are also really easy to find should you ever need them. And in terms of resale value, this is a good investment. The selling price of these 1200s just keeps going up and up. Of course, like anything, there are things I would like to change about my Mark II. For example, the hardwired RCA cables at the back. I'm not a huge fan of that. I'd much rather if there were RCA plugs on the back so I could use whatever cables I wanted to. The other thing I hear some people complaining about is the stock tone arm. I think it sounds okay. I haven't had any issues with my tone arm. That said, I haven't actually compared this particular tone arm to any aftermarket ones, so it's probably not fair for me to weigh in on that. The question is, will I change any of this stuff on my Mark II? Will I upgrade the cables or upgrade the tone arm? Probably not. As I said, I'm really happy with the way it is, and I would like to keep this thing as stock as possible. So bottom line, over the past 18 months, I've absolutely fallen in love with my Mark II turntable, specifically for home hi-fi listening. Do I still use other turntables? Yes, of course. As I mentioned, I still have my vintage Hitachi I use. I still have my Project, the Fluence, and the Orbit. but I gotta tell you, they haven't got a lot of use since I got this Technics. All right, let's answer some common questions I get about this turntable. So probably the most common question I get about my Mark II is, hey Frank, what sort of needle are you using on there? What sort of stylus are you using? In general, I have 3 cartridges that are sort of my go-to cartridges. Those are the Ortofon 2M Blue, the Nagaoka MP110, and a vintage Pickering XV15 625E. But I've upgraded that one with a really premium, really nice aftermarket needle from Jaico, which is really good. So I've tried all 3 of those on the Technics, and to my ears, for my listening purposes, the one that sounds the best is the vintage Pickering. It's got a really warm sound, detailed enough, and does a really good job of tracking the grooves on that record player. All right, another question I commonly get is, how can you tell how old your Technics is? How can you tell when your 1200 was built? Probably the easiest way to determine how old your 1200 is there's this website. I'll leave the link right here, and all you have to do is punch in your serial number and it'll tell you exactly when yours was built. When I did that, it comes back telling me my 1200 was built in October 1999. There's one other cool thing there. Beside the serial number, there's often a little code, and that code will tell you what country, what market that turntable was originally intended for. So if you see a little M there, it was sold in the USA. Mine says MC, and MC means it was intended for the Canadian market, and that's where I bought it, here in Canada. I'll leave a little thing here. You can see a bunch of these different codes that correspond with the countries that the turntable was originally intended for. Another common question I get is, Frank, is that Mark II really a 1200? Most people don't believe me, or many people don't believe me when I tell them it is. In fact, I've had so-called Technics experts saying, Frank, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't have a 1200, you have a 1210. And that's because in some parts, well, in many parts of the world, there are 2 sort of models, right? There's the 1200 and there's the 1210. The 1200s are the silver ones and the 1210s are the black ones. But that never applied here in North America. In North America, all of them were 1200s and they were almost all silver. There were some, very few, that were black, but they were badged only as 1200s. A 1210 was never available for sale domestically in this part of the world. At least that is my understanding. Regardless, I can tell you with no hesitation that mine is absolutely a 1200. It is not a 1210. So there you go. This has been my experience, the Technics SL1200 Mark II turntable. What do you think of this deck? I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments below. If you dug this video, I would appreciate a quick thumbs up. Thank you for watching. Until next time, keep on spinning.